Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to Stretford Paddock. I am Adam McKola. This is your morning news, and we've got plenty to get stuck into today. We're talking Cody Gakpo, we're talking Bruno Fernandes, we're talking the Manchester United potential sale, as well as Marcus Rashford's contract. Yes, we're getting stuck in to loads today, so make sure you're keeping it locked. You're hitting that subscribe button. Yes, go and do it. What are you waiting for? If you're not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button right now. Get liking the video, get commenting your thoughts below as well, because we want you to be a part of the conversation here on Stretford Paddock. And also, we want to see some of you lot on December the 30th in Dublin at our very first event. We've got a live Paddock podcast with myself, Steve, Jay, Joe. We've got a live Manchester United interview with a former player, i.e. Brian McKola, who's coming with us as well. It is going to be a great show, so we want you lot to be there. The link's in the description below. Now, let's get stuck into some of this news. And one of the first stories that we've seen this morning was that Manchester United's sale could be completed this season. That's what, according to BBC. Now, obviously, it might not be fixed this season. We might have to wait. We might have to, go through a few bidders, and the Glazers might not like their bidders. There's loads of different things that could go wrong and delay this, or in fact halt it. They might only sell a little bit, like they've said previously. But in the BBC's article, they say it could be sold by the end of the month, before the end of the season, which would be great news for Manchester United fans. And obviously, it'd be great to see the Glazers gone before the season's out. Who would have thought that, eh? Who would have thought we'd possibly see them gone before? Because when you're protesting against these, you never, you want to get rid of them. You want to put pressure on them. You want to do all this. But because they've been here since 2005, you kind of just feel like, are we going to be stuck with these clowns forever? And they're just going to be, absolutely milking the club dry. So that's one of the fears that you have. But apparently, if things go smoothly, and they get the bidders in, and the bidders vet the club, and they vet the bidders, etc., etc., we could have a new owner before the end of this season, with the American owners continuing to contemplate an exit. A huge news for us. Hopefully that is something that happens. We'll obviously have updates as and when we get them here on Stretford Paddock. More reason for you lot to hit that subscribe button. Then we had the story that Manchester United had to exercise the clause in Marcus Rashford's contract amid World Cup 2022 heroics. He's out of contract at the end of the season. We've obviously got the option to trigger an extension. I think that will be triggered while we negotiate a new contract with the player. If I was Manchester United though, I'd negotiate that contract with the player. What we don't want to do is allow players to run down to their last year. We've done it with Ander Herrera. We've seen a lot of players recently leave on a free. When you look at the likes of Pogba, Lingard, Matic, etc. We haven't done well to sell players, and that's not me saying we have to sell Marcus Rashford. I don't want us to sell Marcus Rashford. But what could happen is you get to his last year of contract, teams start offering him big money, and then you're in a more difficult position because you allowed it to go to his last year of his contract. And now the player could possibly see a signing on fee that would, and a bigger wages and all that. Now, I feel like Marcus Rashford's someone that will, play the majority of his career, if not all of his career at Man United. But you shouldn't take those things for granted. We've done it so many times in the past. I remember us taking the piss with Wes Brown's contracts and stuff, and just thinking, he's from the academy, he'll stay. We can't do that. We have to get this contract sorted. And if we are going to trigger the extension, get him signed up to a new deal, before that extension actually kicks in. Just use it to bide yourself some time. But yeah, Marcus Rashford's contract could be triggered, the extension. And obviously, we'll be looking to negotiate a new deal. Now, we also hear that we have Cody Gakpo's transfer fee revealed. Yes, that's according to the Football Insider, but there's been a few more reports about this. Everywhere, the Mirror say the price is around 40 to 50 million pounds. Which I think is a bargain for a player that we've seen. The amount of goals and assists that he gets is incredible. And we hear here sources, Man United reached agreement in principle with the signing with PSV Eindhoven sensation Cody Gakpo. Sources have told Footballer Insider The Premier League giants tried to prize the forward from the Dutch club in the summer and had a £25 million bid rejected. United have remained in contact with Gakpo's camp and are working on a deal ahead of next year. It is believed the club have reached an agreement in principle with the player as he looks to take the next step in his career. But United will have to convince PSV to sell their prize asset in January if they are to reach a full agreement in the winter window, rather than have to wait until next summer to complete the transfer. So it says we have an agreement in principle, but then it kind of says we don't have an agreement in principle. So maybe that agreement in principle is with Cody Gakpo and not the club. So we know Cody Gakpo wants to join. We've got his wages and everything sorted, but we haven't got a transfer fee sorted. As I said, we've heard reports that that fee could be around £43 million, which is 50 million euros, and that is a bargain, as I said. Now the report says they want it in excess of that, but 45 million is in excess of that. And I do think he may be available on a relatively cheap deal, even given his World Cup heroics, because of the fact that he was close to leaving last summer and the player will really want out of there. A player that I'm hoping doesn't really want out of there is Bruno Fernandes, and the record in Portugal have been reporting that Real Madrid are continually to be interested in him. They were interested in him when he was at Sporting Lisbon and he left for Man United, and their interest has remained. He's obviously now having a great World Cup. A lot of Man United players are having a very good World Cup. Bruno Fernandes is one of those. Now this article in Record says he feels satisfied and complete at Manchester United. He's focused on objectives at the club despite Real Madrid's interest, but it kind of does allude to the fact that anything could happen. Again, you've got to look after your key players. You've got to make sure, you can't let your key players run the club, demanding contracts left, right and centre. But you also have to reward your players when they're playing well, when they're doing well. Now actually Bruno's been rewarded quite recently. He has a contract which runs, I think, until 2026. So Manchester United are in a relatively strong position there. But it'll be coming time to renew very soon. And I suppose this is what Bruno's agent will be using in his negotiations with Manchester United. And if that is being the case, and you've got the likes of Real Madrid interested, you obviously got a little bit of competition there. I think Bruno would do great for Real and in Spain, but I hope that doesn't happen and he stays at Manchester United, because he's a fantastic player. And I do think we kind of take him for granted a little bit. People talk about his ability and that like he's a bum. I think, what the hell are you guys watching? Like, I know sometimes he frustrates me too with his decision making. He'll rush things, or he'll shoot when he doesn't need to, or he'll overhit a pass. But I only get frustrated because I know how good he is. And he's very fucking good. But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments below about that one. Can you see Bruno possibly playing for Real one day? Anyway, that is it for today. The sale of Manchester United could be complete before the end of the season. Fingers crossed. Marcus Rashford's contract could be extended, but it will be the clause which will be triggered in his contract. Obviously, Cody Gakpo is being linked with the club and there's apparently an agreement in principle with the player, and the fee would be around £43 million. And then, of course, you've got that news on Bruno Fernandes and whether he could possibly be going to Real Madrid. So let us know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in a bit.